So I'm Andrea Williams. I currently work as a business development representative at Salesforce. Previously, a little bit of my job experience, previously worked for FormStack and a company also called Demand Jump downtown as well. And before that, I was actually in healthcare. So I was working at a midwifery, thought I wanted to go into healthcare, and that quickly changed when I found TechPoint. So I'm here now. So what sparked my interest as far as like TechPoint and coming into the tech industry was really looking for that change. I had been working in healthcare and COVID happened. And I was in a nursing program and I was like, okay, I really don't like this. So it was a pretty big wake-up call for me. Previously, I went to Indiana University and got my degree in human development and family studies and thought I was going to go ahead and get like a master's in nursing after that. And yeah, life was like, no. So I kind of was doing some research and I had always had an interest in tech. Didn't know where that was going to go for me, but ran across TechPoint's website and thought like, hey, this might be a good opportunity to look into a new career. And I came across the sales bootcamp. Didn't know I was also going to build like sales. I'm a pretty competitive person, so I really felt like, let me just give this a shot. Like, even if I don't like it, I'll have learned new skills and hopefully have networked with a lot of people to see if this is something that I can explore, which then led me to doing the sales bootcamp at TechPoint. So I feel like business development representative makes it sound really fancy. Essentially what it is the beginning of the pipeline for the sales process. So I'm reaching out to either new clients or maybe clients that we're already working with, depending on the company. So my current role, I'll be reaching out to clients who have no idea who I am. So doing a lot of that cold calling and getting that pipeline built and to say like, hey, these are the services we offer. And that could just be as simple as a conversation, seeing what their needs are, seeing if we even align as a company. And then I would be then passing that information to my account executive. So a day in the life of a BDR, I would say the way I describe it, I like to keep my structure pretty structured because I also have a 3-year-old at home. So depending on where you're calling for your territory, what that usually looks like is maybe you are doing some calls, admin things in the morning, emails, following up on previous things, and then you're going to be doing a lot of meetings. Usually those are introduction meetings, again, aligning with companies to see like, are there things that they may need that we can actually offer, or maybe they're contacting us and it's something that we can't fulfill. So again, I would be doing a lot of emails, calling. There is like a call quota that carries usually typically with this role, making sure that you're meeting those metrics. And that's one of the things I actually really enjoy about this role is that everything is kind of out on the front in sales. Numbers don't lie. I really like that saying because it's really true in sales. It's about how much work you put in. So, you know, depending on how many calls or emails you did the day before, that's really going to impact your day the next day, depending on how many meetings you have. Typically, I would say, you know, you have your lunch break in the middle of the day. Again, I would come back, and if I'm calling like East Coast people, you know, their schedules are a little bit different out here. So then I would be following up with those. I mentioned those time zones because it's really important in sales when you're calling so many different people. You want to make sure that you're actually targeting your clients so that they'll answer the phone for you. So yeah, and then at the end of the day, I get, again, doing a lot of admin things as far as like making sure I'm prepping for the next day. I feel like that's really essential in this role because you can get lost in doing a lot of cold calling and emailing, and it's like, okay, but what next? Because there's so many people to reach out to, but at least if you have a plan and you can kind of structure your day where you do your most important tasks at the beginning of the day and give yourself that break at the end, you'll be really happy. So, I mean, of course, I know I already mentioned I work at Salesforce, so I obviously use our CRM system, Salesforce, right now. But we've used a lot of different, well, I should say me personally, I've used a lot of different tools such as HubSpot, things like that. All systems that are going to help me manage those clients and emails. So again, you may have a system like Salesforce that can do all of those things where I call my clients directly from Salesforce. I'm able to email them through the Salesforce as well. Obviously things like keeping up with your Google Calendar and those emails as well. But that's pretty much what I'm using right now just because we're all in-house. But at previous other companies, we use a lot of phone systems that would allow us to make those calls faster, as well as like gather information and take notes such as HubSpot and things like that. Yeah, so my education journey, I kind of laugh and snicker because I'm from South Bend, Indiana, but I went to Indiana University, Bloomington, not knowing what I was gonna do or, you know, where I was gonna land. So again, I have a degree in human development and family studies. I really enjoyed learning just about the health of people and the development and thought I was gonna go into nursing with that. So I was actually at Marian University doing their nursing program. COVID happened. So I was like, you know, this just isn't for me. I just found that working in the hospitals, and then coming home to my little one became too much. For obvious reasons. So then that kind of led me to looking into doing some more research, which I ran into Tech Point. I fulfilled the boot camp and went through with that, had an awesome time, had a lot of fun networking with a lot of people and making those connections, which then led to me being offered 3 positions at the jobs that we interviewed for, which you guys, I'm sure, will get more information about that program. But yeah, so after that, I got to choose, what company I felt most aligned with me. And that was Demand Jump at the time. Great company. And I worked there for about 7 months before I was recruited to FormStack. And FormStack, I was doing the same role, a little bit different, but very similar. It's called SDR, if you will, very similar to a BDR, depending on the company you're talking to. Those will be interchangeable, but basically doing similar either inbound or outbound. Unfortunately, FormStack had some layoffs, and I was a part of that, very unexpected, but got to take the summer off, and then someone from Salesforce reached out to me. So this is where I've been, and I am just getting off of Ramp and jumping right into Salesforce, and I'm still kind of just doing my training. And then this interview happened, so super excited to talk about that. I love talking about the transition. Although, some people say you want to stick to one job and jump right into that. And I do believe in that. But sometimes in the tech industry, things move so fast, you just have to keep up. And as long as you're being a great performer in networking and just continuing to be your best self, I feel like you'll find the next opportunity. And that's just really been the case for me. For aspiration and goals, right now I am looking to take it to that next level where I can become an account executive. That's typically the role as far as BDR, SDR, account executive. There are other options as well. I'm really into customer journey and things like that. So I thought also you could go the customer success route, which still sometimes carries that sales quota, so you can still kind of get the best of both worlds. But for me personally, I think that I want to go into being an account executive. And then I also have aspirations obviously outside of work, where I am going to be hopefully doing some entrepreneur things here in Indianapolis. And I'm hoping that maybe I can connect those two worlds with things that I'm really into as far as health and wellness in the tech industry. And yeah, kind of bringing those all together in the next 5 to 10 years. I would say my best advice was don't be afraid. I think that's one of the things that can lead people into careers maybe that they're not happy with, even though they might be successful. And I just believe that to be successful to me is to actually enjoy the work you do and feel like you're making that impact. And I thought that was going to be in healthcare for me, and it wasn't. And I still feel like I'm speaking to people who do their everyday jobs, where I'm offering them a software that can help them get through their day, or that work with their manager in a better way. So I still feel like I'm making that larger impact, and I feel like the knowledge I'm taking from Indiana's tech industry, I'll be able to apply in my own way in some way. Like I mentioned earlier, bringing that back into healthcare somehow. And I'm really into yoga and plants and things, so I don't know where that's going to lead me, but I really feel like you have to be willing to take that next step. And even though I didn't know anything about sales or necessarily tech, when I, came in with open arms and willing to learn, there were people there who met me with that same energy. People at Tech Point who were welcoming to me, and even being a little bit older and not coming right out of college, I met a lot of people who were like, well, this just makes sense for me because I just got out of school. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, I have a kid and I've already worked 5 jobs. But I never felt that way when I walked into that program. They never made me feel like I was too late. And I feel like sometimes that's what can hold us back. So just not being afraid. And then also networking. I sent thousands of emails, thousands of LinkedIn requests to people at Google and whoever else, because I was like, hey, I want to break into this industry. You're doing what I want to do. Can you help me? And some of them said no, and others offered me great advice. So I feel like just never be afraid to put yourself out there, and always just put yourself first as far as if you say you're going to do something, do it and do it well. Yeah, and I would say that is a really good start for anyone looking to kind of take that next pivot.